So we got a clip from the All In podcast, and if you're not familiar with the All In podcast, it is basically a few individuals who are very, very wealthy. And when I say very, very wealthy, not rich, I say wealthy because we're talking out of the four of them, we're talking a net worth of each of them between 100 million to 2 billion, right? The one with the lowest net worth is estimated to be about $100 million. Yeah. So a few rich individuals having conversations about different things. But on this specific episode, they were talking about the California elections. And if you guys have been following my YouTube shorts that I've been dropping, and if you don't, check out my YouTube shorts, definitely check them out. Definitely check them out. I drop at least 3 of them almost every single day. I don't think I did yesterday, but I got a little busy. But most days, 99% of the time, I drop 3 YouTube shorts every single day. Okay, so definitely make sure you're checking those out. But I've been dropping YouTube shorts talking about the California election fraud. And so I want to dive into it a little bit and get into what they talked about, because they got into exactly how Democrats are able to win these California elections magically overnight, even though, people like Spencer Pratt was winning on election day. Let's get into it.
Is the election system in Los Angeles, specifically in California, corrupt? And is this election been stolen from Spencer Pratt, or is it just...
There is no election.
There was no election.
There is no election.
Okay. So there is no spoon.
Your rights to have an election are gone. You are a citizen of those who tell you who your overseers are. You are no longer allowed to vote.
Not allowed to vote
for your elected representatives. They are now appointed representatives. So enjoy the appointments that have been made for you. Who? Appointed by those who have constructed the matrix.
Got it. Now we understand the background. There is no spoon.
Agent Smith and all the Agent Smiths are in charge. So here's some statistics for you. In-person voting the day of the election in Los Angeles County for mayor, Spencer Pratt, 35%, Karen Bass, 29%, Nithya Raman, 26%. Mail-in ballots.
Say those numbers again. I want to hear those numbers one more time.
Karen Bass, 29% for mayor, Spencer Pratt, 35%.
35.
Karen Bass, 29%. Nithya Raman, 26%. Mail-in ballots received before Election Day, 38% for Bass, 28% for Pratt, 20% for Raman. And then all these ballots that arrive after Election Day, 37% for Raman, 35% for Bass, 19% for Pratt. So Pratt's post-election mail-in ballots declined by 1/3. So statistically, the population of people that send in their ballots late reduced for Pratt by 1/3, increased for Nithya Raman by 80%, and Karen Bass 10% less. If you just look at the mail-in ballots before and after Election Day as a comparison. I don't know if there's a socio-political way that you can assess those statistics and assume that these are individuals casting their individual vote for who they think should be mayor of LA. And Nick, if you'll just pull up the map.
Hold on, before he continues, just that statistic alone should tell you those ballots are absolutely bogus. So you mean to tell me the day of, right, in-person voting, Spencer Pratt was winning by about 7% in LA of all places. Heavy Democrat, right? Heavy Democrat place. But Spencer Pratt was still winning. Makes sense. And before the election, he was down, I forgot the exact number, but he was in second place in the mail-in ballots before Election Day. So before they had all the tallies, before they knew how many ballots they had to, what do they call it? Harvest. He was in second place in mail-in ballots. Post-Election Day, he's dropped to third, fallen off a cliff. Nithya Raman, who was in a distant third place, takes off like a damn rocket and shoots up 80%. in post-election mail-in ballots somehow, and we're supposed to believe that's legit? Like, I might have been born at night, but it wasn't last night. It doesn't take a genius to figure this one out. It's bogus. And here's the thing too. This is how you know this has been in the works for many, many years. They don't even care that we know. It's so blatantly obvious they don't care. You know why? Because if you went and investigated, it's going to look like there's genuine people, right, actually voting. That's what it's going to look like, which is why when people start announcing these investigations, I'm like, you're not going to find anything. The only way you're going to discover anything is if people actually start admitting to it, which we have. I've got many clips of homeless people admitting to being paid to vote, or to sign up to vote, or to sign a ballot in somebody else's name. I've got those clips, right? And that's what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. If you watch my YouTube shorts, you've probably seen some of those. So the only way that you are going to stop this, well, there's a couple of things. One, and the Supreme Court might rule on this here soon. Hopefully they do, and hopefully it is a broad-reaching ruling, and that is it's election day, not election month. There's no previous election or before election day ballots. There's no early voting. That's what I was trying to think of. There's no early voting, okay, whatsoever. Early voting will be obsolete. You show up the day of election day and you vote, and if you don't show up the day, you don't get a chance to vote. We don't care if you signed a ballot and mailed it in on the day of or by the day of the election. Doesn't matter. If you don't show up in person and vote, it ain't counting. It's election day, not election month. Hopefully the Supreme Court rules in that fashion. But then also, not only that, but hopefully eventually we get the Save America Act passed. So when you do show up in person to vote, you've got to prove that you're an American citizen, and you also got to show ID so we can see exactly who it is that you are. I guarantee you, if those two things happen, Democrats lose elections overnight. In blue havens, they'll lose elections. All of a sudden, the governor of New York is a Republican. All of a sudden, the governor of California is a Republican. Overnight. I'd be willing to make a bet on it. I would bet on it. Not even kidding. And I'm not advocating for gambling. You gamble responsibly, right? But I would be willing to make a bet on it that Democrats overnight start losing elections that you would have thought they would have easily won, or previously they easily won. Guarantee it. Let's continue.
Which I think is worth taking a look at. Basically, the concentration of incremental votes that Nithya Raman got came around the Skid Row area in Los Angeles. And look, I'm not an election denier. I'm not someone who's historically believed incremental votes that Nithya Raman got came around the Skid Row area in Los Angeles. And
Skid Row, what do you know? Who's on Skid Row? A bunch of homeless people. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And they don't care because due to the way that they run elections, like, that's completely legal. A homeless person just voted. They signed up to vote. It's their signature, the whole nine. But they got paid to do so. That's the catch.
Look, I'm not an election denier. I'm not someone who's historically believed the idea that elections are fraud and people have stolen votes. But when you look at the basic statistics of what happened in person, mail-in before, mail-in after election day, it becomes a real statistical quagmire on how did this sort of a socio-political shift happen in such a way that it did. Now, there was a report published, Nick, if you could pull this up, by the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on House Administration. This was published in May of 2020. And they highlighted the 2018 California midterm elections and the challenges they saw arise in that midterm elections because of some of the legislative changes that were made. First, California Assembly Bill 1921 legalized the practice of unlimited ballot harvesting in the state. This was passed around 2018, around the midterms. What that means is that any individual in the state of California has the right to go and collect ballots from any other individuals, regardless of relationship, fill them out, and send them in. California, 2 years later, 18 months later, also passed a law that made it permanent that every person registered in the state of California would get a ballot. So tens of millions of ballots then get mailed out. Then there was another series of laws that were passed that said anyone can register to vote. You don't need to prove your citizenship. You can use a gym membership card as an example. So anyone can register to vote. There is no proof of ID when you get a ballot. There is no demonstration that the person who fills out the ballot has anything to do with the individual who's supposed to be voting that ballot. And it is legal for an individual.
We have proof that some of these individuals who are filling out these ballots aren't the real individual. It's on camera. Like, not even kidding. It's on camera. Go back and watch my YouTube shorts. I've already posted them. It's on camera where you have these individuals telling these homeless folks, hey, sign this ballot under this name. And they're telling them which name to use. It's not the homeless person's name. They're just signing it under, I'm assuming, dead people's names. But you know what? Doesn't matter. It's crazy.
To go out and collect hundreds or thousands of ballots, ship them in, and they will all qualify in these kind of mail-in ballot voting processes. So there's nothing illegal or fraudulent going on. In fact, the system is operating exactly as intended. It has been set up and structured in a way that with the right construct, you can get an individual appointed, not elected, but appointed to a particular role in government under a, quote, free election in California. This is a foundational destruction of our rights to vote for people in a free democracy. I feel it's been eroded slowly over time to such an extent now, and I'm not some crazy MAGA motherfucker or whatever people want to classify me as for pointing this out, but you can go down this list. They are all written out in this document. Every one of these laws that were passed in California over time that in aggregate create the environment and the construction for elections to become appointments and no longer free democratic elections, where the principle, very importantly, the principle should be one individual, one vote. And if you opt to not vote, your vote should not be counted. So I think that there's no fraud. I don't think that there's anything illegal.
Sounds like you believe there's massive fraud.
Yeah, I think this is not fraud. This is the way
It's
the laws are set up.
It's not fraud.
It's the way the law is set up.
Yeah. And that is exactly what I've been talking about. They're not going to find any fraud, but they've manipulated it in such a way that it's basically fraud, but they've made it legal. Okay, I guess that's what more of what I'm trying to say here. Here's a quick clip of
Did you vote?
This individual. I actually posted this as a YouTube short too, by the way. So for those of you that watch my YouTube shorts, you've already seen this clip. Check it out.
Did you vote?
Yeah.
Oh, you did for Karen Bass?
Yeah. Karen Bassett. Right. That's her last name, Bassett?
Karen Bass, yeah. Or Nithya Raman?
Karen.
Karen? They told you to vote for Karen?
Yeah. They had to sign a little thing.
And how much they pay you?
It was like $2.
$2? Oh, to sign off on a thing to vote for her?
Yeah.
And so they do this for everybody out here?
Yeah, they come out here all the time.
Oh, they just get everybody to vote out here, huh?
Yeah, they come out here all the time. All the time. If they're coming out there all the time, doesn't that tell you that sometimes they're telling people to vote under other people's names? That one should be completely obvious, right? Completely obvious. But yeah, crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. And listen, I can't wait until the Supreme Court comes out with their ruling. It's been reported that they're going to rule that it's election day, not election month. That is going to be a major, major, major blow to Democrats. Absolutely massive blow. And of course, they're going to come out and say, oh, they're taking away your right to vote, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're taking away the Democrats' right to cheat by counting ballots after the fact. Like that is just, it's so blatantly obvious what's going on here. Like in a place like LA, before the election, Spencer Pratt was number 2 in mail-in ballots. On the day of, on day of voting, he was number one. And then all of a sudden, when people are like, oh crap, there's a Democrat and a Republican who are going to make the runoff election, that all of a sudden flips on his head. Karen Bass takes a dive. Nithya Raman takes off like a darn rocket. And Spencer Pratt drops like a sack of potatoes. Just magically, overnight, after the election. Post-election ballots. Shouldn't the post-election ballots pretty much match the before-election mail-in ballots? Why would there be such a drastic swing? They're both mail-in ballots. Some of them are early voting mail-in ballots. Some of them are post-election mail-in ballots. Why don't they match? Why aren't they similar? Like, I could see a little bit of variance, but why aren't they close? Like, they're not even close. You know what I'm saying? So it's obvious what's going on there. But like I said, hopefully next year we'll get the Save America Act passed, and all of that will be out of the window come the 2028 election. So Democrats aren't able to do that. And like I said, I guarantee you, all of a sudden, Democrats start losing elections that previously they would have easily won. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. But get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Man, what a great explanation right there, man. What a great explanation from those guys on the All In podcast. I'm happy they're talking about it because this is crazy. It's gotten out of hand. Peace and love. I'm out.